Is nirvana the same as heaven? Welcome back, everyone, to Mind Podcast. What is the purpose of your existence in this life? Where does your true value lie? What to you is true peace and happiness? I believe that many people are still struggling, caught up in these questions. I personally am one of them. Sometimes I ask myself what my true purpose is in this short life, constantly entangled in the demands of food, clothing, and shelter, then aging, getting sick, and eventually dying. It wasn't until I learned about nirvana, a concept that has saved the lives of many, that I began to find some answers. Today, let us explore nirvana to address the boundless questions in our lives. Before we begin the video, we would like to introduce the channel that produces videos for our loyal members. Please subscribe as directed to learn more about the mysteries of religion. Once King Milinda met the Venerable Nagasena and asked him, "Is nirvana visible or tangible?" "No, it has no visible form or substance. It does not arise from the four great elements. It has no size, area, place, or location," replied Nagasena. "Does it have any parts or details?" "No, it does not." "Can it be measured or estimated in any way?" "No, it cannot." "Can you provide an example?" No example can fully encompass nirvana. Does nirvana have a cause then? No, it has no cause. Does it rely on any condition? No, it does not. Is there any way to verify or describe it concretely? No, there is no concrete way to explain it for everyone to understand easily, Nagasena replied. But is there any specific analogy that could at least hint at nirvana? Yes, while there are examples that may offer a glimpse of nirvana, these do not represent nirvana itself. Oh, that is quite interesting. People speak of the vast ocean. Has your eminence seen the great ocean? Asked the king. Yes, I have. And does it truly exist? Yes, it does. So since you have seen the great ocean and confirmed its existence, may I ask how wide, long, and deep it is, how much water it contains, how many fish there are, and the quantity of each type? No one can answer that, replied the king. Why not? The ocean is real, the water is real, the fish are real. Why won't your majesty answer, or have you never seen the ocean? Oh, I have seen it, but as for its length, width, depth, and the number of fish, I do not know. I lack knowledge in marine studies, and any answer I give would be inaccurate. The ocean is something real and tangible. The king has seen the ocean with his own eyes, yet he cannot estimate its length, width, or depth, nor the number of fish. And yet, the king asks me to measure, estimate, and describe the components and details of nirvana, a transcendent reality. Suppose someone possessed supernatural powers, profound knowledge, and perfect memory to measure the length, width, and depth of the water and fish in the great ocean. Even then, they could not speak of nirvana. Why? Because nirvana lies beyond all measurement, cause, and comparison. In the Milindapana, King Milinda asked the Venerable Nagasena about nirvana. He said, "There is no direction, west, south, east, north, above, below, or outward, where one can say that nirvana exists. Yet nirvana truly exists, and anyone who lives a virtuous life with mindfulness, wisdom, and focus, whether in Greece, China, Alexandria, or Kosala, can attain nirvana. Just as fire does not reside in any particular place, but arises when conditions are right, so too is nirvana attained when the path is complete." During the Buddha's time, some ascetics and Brahmins claimed that there were 5 types of nirvana they considered ultimate. The first belief was that enjoying the 5 sensual pleasures to the fullest constituted nirvana. The second was the belief that detachment from sensual pleasures and unwholesome practices, reaching the first level of meditative absorption, with initial thought, sustained thought, joy, and happiness, was nirvana. The third view was that reaching the second, D level of meditative absorption, with inner tranquility, one-pointed concentration, and joy, constituted nirvana. The fourth was that attaining the third level of meditation, characterized by happiness and mindfulness, was nirvana. The fifth view was that the fourth level of meditation, in which one experiences neither joy nor sorrow and is free from false views, constituted nirvana. The Buddha understood these viewpoints but did not cling to them, as he was free from attachment to any particular view. His mind was peaceful, allowing him to understand the cultivation, cessation, pleasure, danger, and detachment from sensations thoroughly. With this understanding, the Buddha was fully liberated, free from the cycles of birth and death. In the Prajnaparamita Sutras, nirvana is described with 8 qualities. 1. eternal, permeating past, present, and future, enduring throughout time and space. 2. Silent, completely at peace, ending all cycles of birth and death. 3. Unchanging, neither aging nor altering, adding or diminishing. 4. Deathless, neither born nor dying, beyond the cycle of life and death. 5. Pure, free from all defilements and pollution. 6. Vast as space, open and boundless, surpassing all obstacles. 7. Unmoving, absolutely still, with no disturbance. 8. Blissful, free from the suffering of birth and death, filled with perpetual happiness and peace. The Buddha elaborated on the nature of nirvana in many sutras. In the Udana, the Buddha addressed the monks, describing nirvana as a state without earth, water, fire, wind, infinite space, infinite consciousness, nothingness, or perception. There is neither this world nor another world. Therefore, he declared that nirvana has no coming, no going, no arising, no ceasing, no movement, and no basis. It is the cessation of all suffering. Monks, whatever depends on something is subject to movement. Whatever does not depend on anything is unmoving. That which is unmoving is serene, and serenity brings stability. Stability has neither coming nor going, neither birth nor death. Because there is no birth or death, there is no present life or future life. This is the complete cessation of suffering. Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh said, "Birth is the notion of becoming something from nothing, and death is the notion of becoming nothing from something. What neither comes nor goes, neither arises nor ceases, neither increases nor decreases, that is nirvana." Thus, saying nirvana exists or does not exist is absurd. To say nirvana exists is incorrect, and to say it doesn't exist is also incorrect, because the concepts of existence and non-existence do not apply to nirvana. Saying, "I don't know if nirvana exists, so I won't practice," is a foolish notion. Bringing concepts of existence or non-existence to search for nirvana means that one will never find it. In the Lotus Sutra, there are the concepts of provisional gate, Tathagata Garbha, and true gate, Dharmakaya. From the perspective of the provisional gate, we see arising and ceasing, with waves that rise and fall, exist and vanish. But from the perspective of the true gate, like the essence of water, concepts such as arising, ceasing, this wave, that wave, high or low, no longer exist. Imagine a wave feeling fear, worry, suffering, and jealousy, searching for a place of peace. Someone tells it, "What you're looking for is water." When you realize you are water, you will no longer worry about rising, falling, big or small, beautiful or ugly. This is only an analogy, a finger pointing to the moon. Nirvana is like water, both manifest and unmanifest, just as waves and water are one. In reality, a wave doesn't need to look for water because it already is water. Similarly, nirvana is our true nature, unborn, undying, without coming or going. We are already within nirvana. Nirvana is not something to search for. Wondering whether nirvana exists or not, or seeking to attain it, is a mistaken understanding. That notion is as naive as a wave searching for water. The wave is already water, so there is no need to seek it. This is what is meant by attaining non-attainment. In the sutras it is said, "Realize the non-realization, attain the non-attainment." Imagine a kaleidoscope. Within it, colored paper pieces form intricate patterns with every shake. One shake creates one beautiful pattern, another shake creates a different one. A child is fascinated by these patterns, feeling no regret over one disappearing because a new one takes its place. Each pattern appears distinct, but all are created by the same pieces of paper. The colored pieces represent the true gate, while the patterns represent the provisional gate. Recognizing, that all arises from the true gate, the arising and ceasing of forms in the provisional gate no longer disturb us. A cloud seeking to be water doesn't need to search, because it is already water by nature. When a cloud encounters cold air, it becomes snow. Though it no longer resembles a cloud, it is still water. When a cloud becomes rain or ice, it is still the same water. These analogies are given to help us understand, not to get attached to them. The Blessed One used many analogies in his teachings. For those who are insightful, these analogies point to the truth, but for others, they may become stuck in the analogies themselves. When a cloud realizes it is water, it no longer fears anything. It is happy as a cloud, as rain, as snow, or as ice. Similarly, humans experience worry, fear, prejudice, and jealousy because we do not recognize or realize our true nature. I am nirvana. If we can connect with the reality of ourselves called nirvana, a reality that is neither born nor dying, neither coming nor going, neither permanent nor transient, then all of our fears, sorrows, and jealousies disappear. This is something we can achieve. An enlightened one is awakened and sees that our foundation is nirvana. Thus, they experience joy, whether they rise or fall, come or go. An enlightened person is described as one who is free from concepts like existence and non-existence, gain and loss, arrival and departure. Scholars now translate nirvana as freedom. In the past, people translated nirvana as extinction, the extinguishing of notions such as attainment and failure, coming and going, permanence and impermanence, birth and death. Today we interpret nirvana as freedom from concepts. When those concepts no longer disturb or cause us suffering, that is freedom, that is nirvana. Nirvana is not something we achieve only after the body disintegrates and dies. Nirvana is available here and now, called present nirvana. A Christian might say, I am God and God is me. God is my unborn, undying foundation. I do not need to search for God is my ultimate reality. Only waves that know they are water can play and laugh freely. When they reach the shore, they smile. Only those who have attained nirvana can smile at their last breath, while others in that situation are overwhelmed with worry and fear. The beauty and miracle of a practitioner is in realizing nirvana. Nirvana is not something external to chase after. It is our true self, present within every cell of our body. The foundation of all things is nirvana. Imagine someone searching for space, running east, west, south, north, climbing up and down, trying to find space, unaware that they are already in it, that everywhere is space. We are like this too. We seek nirvana in the past, in the future, in the east, in the west, when in truth we are already in nirvana. This is called present nirvana. Only by awakening can we see this. Therefore, Buddhism is called the path of awakening. To awaken is to realize nirvana without the need to search. Observing life deeply, we naturally connect with nirvana. A scientist who has never studied Buddhism once said, "Nothing is born and nothing dies." This was the French scientist Antoine Lavoisier. The essence of things is neither birth nor death. If people like this delve deeper, they are sure to attain freedom. What is the route that leads us through the cycle of birth and death, and what leads us to nirvana and liberation? The Surangama Sutra explains this very clearly. One day, Venerable Ananda asked the Buddha, "Blessed One, what is the root of birth and death, and what is the root of enlightenment and nirvana?" The Buddha did not immediately answer. After a moment, voices from all directions filled the sky, as Buddhas from the 10 directions responded together. "Ananda, the root of birth and death is your 6 sense faculties, and the root of enlightenment and nirvana is also your 6 sense faculties." The 6 sense faculties, eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind, are both the root of the endless cycle of birth and death, and the root of enlightenment and nirvana. Why? How we use the 6 sense faculties determines whether we are liberated from birth and death or remain trapped within it. When the eyes chase after forms, they cling to them, and thus we are pulled along. The ears hear sounds, the nose smells scents, and the tongue tastes flavors in the same way. For example, when the tongue tastes delicious food, we feel enjoyment, but if the food is not tasty, we feel irritation. Instead of eating to live, we eat to fuel our desires and frustrations, because not every meal will satisfy our palate. When we enjoy the taste, we crave more. This is attachment. When we dislike it, we feel frustrated. This is aversion, which leads to suffering. And suffering is the root of our continuous cycle of birth and death. If we look closely, we see that the delicious or disgusting qualities of food are not inherently real. When the stomach is empty, everything tastes good. When it's full, even the most luxurious food becomes unappealing. The value of taste is illusory, but we forget this and are led by the tongue's demands, following it endlessly. The same applies to the nose, eyes, ears, and the body's sensory experiences. The need to satisfy bodily desires drives some people to work their entire lives without rest. Many people lament their hard lives, working endlessly without a break. Who is it that causes this suffering? It is the demands of our own eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. Thus, those who know how to practice live a balanced life without being bound by these things, naturally finding peace. If we eat simply to sustain ourselves, any food will do as long as it fills our stomach. If we dress simply to cover our body, any clothing will do as long as it is intact. This body, whether beautiful or ugly, will die in a few decades. Is it worth satisfying all its desires only to face death in the end? The body is not real, and happiness is not real either. Due to our delusions, we mistakenly think they are real and are thus trapped in the cycle of birth and death. For a person who knows how to practice, the six sense faculties encountering the six sense objects, forms, sounds, scents, tastes, tactile sensations, and thoughts will remain undisturbed and unbound. This is the root of enlightenment and nirvana. Form refers to attractive or unattractive appearances, sounds to pleasing or displeasing noises, scents to fragrant or foul smells, tastes to delicious or bland, flavors, and touch to bodily sensations. The Dharma consists of the impressions that arise within the mind when the six senses interact with the six sense objects. When there is attachment and entanglement in these interactions, it leads to the cycle of birth and death. However, when there is no attachment or entanglement, that is enlightenment and nirvana. For example, take someone who enjoys drinking. At first, they casually drink 1 cup, then 2, then 3, and over time, they become addicted. Initially, drinking was a choice. They had the freedom to drink or not. But once they become addicted, they can't go without alcohol, running to the bar to get it. What drives them? It's the addiction, a habit formed through repetition, which has now become dependency, taking away their freedom. They created this attachment, and now they have lost their freedom. If they hadn't created it, they wouldn't have lost their freedom. Freedom is the seed of liberation, while being led by attachments is the root of the cycle of suffering. We should examine ourselves to see if we are preparing to ascend or being pulled down. Being pulled down brings suffering, while liberation brings ease. If we are controlled by desires and cannot master ourselves, then we know we are being pulled down. If we can remain unattached to things that others are enticed by, then we are ascending. In practice, there is no need to ask others. Many Buddhists ask their teachers, "Master, do I have the potential to practice?" The teacher often replies that everyone has the potential, as it is only a matter of whether one wishes to practice or not. Why does everyone have the potential? Because the Buddha said that everyone has Buddha nature, which is the root of the capacity to practice. If we are willing to practice, we can. If we are not, we cannot. We don't need to ask anyone else. Reflect on whether our minds are ever purely good or purely bad. Sometimes we think good thoughts, sometimes bad. Thus our minds contain both good and evil. To practice means to abandon evil and nurture goodness. That's all. Having goodness within is already the capacity to practice, so there is no need to ask further. Some people consult dates, months, and years to see if they are suitable for spiritual practice, or they wait for auspicious days to join the monastic life. To me, the day one begins to practice is a good day, and any day spent in wrongdoing is a bad day. We all have the six sense faculties, which means we all possess the root of enlightenment and nirvana, as well as the root of the cycle of suffering and death. As long as the six senses are not attached to the six sense objects, there is liberation. Otherwise, there is suffering. When we look deeply, we realize that practice isn't something in the distant heavens, but lies within our true selves. Someone who does Nyan, chant sutras, or follow a vegetarian diet, yet remains unattached to beauty, unmoved by pleasant sounds, unfazed by praise, and untroubled by criticism, is practicing. On the other hand, someone who chants sutras and follows a strict diet, but is entangled in sights, sounds, and other sensory experiences, has not yet learned to practice. Practice is about skillfully freeing oneself, not binding or entangling. Thank you for watching.